I don't know if anyone else noticed on that last play where the puck went out, everyone on the Kingston bench flinched and turned their heads, put their arms up, except Kurtis Foster. Just kept chewing his gum, didn't even blink.
Great job, D.
Like the mental side, I know with hockey is such a massive thing. It's to me, it's the biggest thing. I mean, you need to be able to play with an open mind and play without worrying about other things, because when you're in that moment and you need to make that play, you can't be thinking about other things. And so you really have to do what we can to kind of put that aside when we're on the ice, and that's by us paying attention and noticing what our players need is really helping that stuff.
Get above! Good play.
Well, I think that as I got older, I started to realize that I really thought the game well, but my feet couldn't quite do exactly what I want anymore because the game was getting that much faster. And it's one of the reasons why I got into coaching, is that I always felt I could think the game well. And I always said to my wife, I think the game better than I can play it. And she used to give me a hard time because I played 15 years. But I think just kind of that mindset is one of the reasons why I'm here today as a coach and not playing anymore.
Kurtis Foster, in my first year doing the games, he was an overager with the Peterborough Petes, drafted in the second round by Calgary. But he was still playing overage here. And then Calgary made a deal, I'd say about November, December in the season, and he was just part of it.
3!
It kind of was the last couple years. I started to realize that I enjoyed the coaching side of the game, and trying to see what adjustments we were making in game, and dealing with players and working with young guys and that sort of thing. So I started to feel that maybe it was in my future. And last summer I kind of made the decision that I was ready to retire, or sorry, 2 summers ago. And I put my name out there and was lucky enough to get on with the Peterborough Petes, which was the city that my wife and I called home. So it was a great first year and great opportunity.
The return of Kurtis Foster, now an assistant coach with the Kingston Frontenacs. That seems very odd because Kurtis Foster kind of bleeds maroon and white. At least he did up until this offseason. Kurtis spent last year as the eye in the sky. As you know, Scott, he played 4 great years here as a member of the Peterborough Petes.
Fast, go. Great play, Murr.
It was great. I mean, being a guy that played 4.5 years with the Petes in junior, was kind of pretty close to my heart, and a lot of the same people were still there. So it made the adjustment of into coaching a lot easier. And also saying that, it was the city where my wife and I and my family had called home during the off seasons my whole career. So being able to stay in our home, which was made it a lot nicer, and our kids were able to be around their friends and our family and all that fun stuff. So for a first year back, it was kind of a perfect opportunity. But I got antsy after the first year of wanted to get on the bench, get more in the action.
Timing-wise, it just didn't work out. He wanted to step up and be on the bench. Jake Grimes was still in the picture at that point. He took the job in Kingston, and that's where he's 100% focused here now.
Hey, you're good there? But right there, if you give it to him, if you don't want that because the guy's coming, just yell, no. You know what I mean? Like, because he gave it to you.
Peterborough asked what my intentions were for the following season. I asked that I'd like to be on the bench. I wanted to get, my foot in the door and become a real coach, and get that in-game aspect as part of my repertoire. And being upstairs was great, but being on a bench myself for 15 years, you kind of want to get back on and get right in the action. And when I asked Peterborough at the time, they said there wasn't any room, and so then I put my name out there and talked to a few teams. But then when the opportunity with Kingston came about, it was kind of a perfect scenario. I knew Paul McFarland quite a bit just from getting to know him the summer before. I've known Darren since his Peterborough days, and Jeff McKercher was the head scout, and we played together in junior, and Adam DeWan was the scout, and we played together in junior. So there's a little bit of comfort level amongst the guys here that made an easier decision for me to make the move. I can't say anything but great things. He's a guy that he knows the game so well. I've learned so much from him. When you're a guy that plays 15 years, you think you know the whole game so well, but when you get into coaching, it's a whole new aspect. And having a guy that has the experience he has of being an assistant coach with some great people in the Western League and being a head coach for 6 years, I learn new things every day. And the preparation we do is at another level. And it's been a lot of fun so far working with him and working with Phil Mangan. Just a good staff, and I think we work well with each other, and it's been great so far.
When he's in trouble there, J-Rob's in trouble. Maybe if you go behind him, he can go off the wall, But you got to tell him, you know what I mean? It just might be open there. I know. Up! Go.
Then we
Back,
came in,
go.
we kind of, kind of hit the ground running and kind of learned from each other and, picked up little things that each other wanted to do and stuff that we weren't doing that we wanted to work on. And I think it's been great. I mean, I think every day we're learning new things. We're getting closer and closer. And, there's always, as a coach, you're always going to have your arguments. And as I always say, they're always healthy arguments over different things. And I think that's what makes a staff great, is being able to argue, think about it, and then make decisions. And I think so far it's been going very well.
Hey, what happened there?
He like stutter stepped me and I crossed over to the middle.
Okay. Sometimes, like, you know what I mean? Like on a guy like that, sometimes you literally, if he's got too much speed, you turn and skate forward to your own net. You know what I mean? If you don't have the gap because he's so fast, you know what I mean? Like, you're not, like, who cares? You just don't want that, right? So if you have to turn and skate, that's okay. Murr and Brad's here. Don't worry about it though, eh? Don't worry about it. There's a reason he's got f***ing 37 points.
How much coaching is changing is, the old school, just yelling doesn't quite work with everybody anymore. And, you got to really get to know your players on a personal level, because some guys are going to learn different ways. Some guys could be audio, some could be visual, some guys could need to be actually moved and shown how to do things. So you got to really get to know your players and know what comes across for them, because, I mean, everybody's different and everybody, does it their own way. And if you can find a way to know your players as much as you can and the best, that's what I think leads to good results.
That's Kurtis Foster, the former player in the OHL. Played with Peterborough and then played in the NHL.
I think the biggest thing for me is that, having that playing career kind of gets you in the door right away, and it kind of earns that trust. And you have to continue to build it and work to grow it over time. But I think right away it gives me that instant trust factor that, when I make a comment or I try to teach, they seem to listen, and I think that really helps, at least at the beginning. And then over time you have to show them that you care and that you know what you're talking about, and that you're making them better. And I think when you do that, the trust just builds and builds.
Did you guys see that, D? Hey, D, did you see that? Even just a hard play on the boards is good there, eh?
My last year in Germany, I was actually scratched for a little bit in playoffs, which was never easy to take, but I kind of took a young guy under my wing and we did a lot of work, and just kind of bringing that attitude to coaching has gone a long way, and not just working, here everybody's a young guy, so you kind of grab whoever you can, but having that kind of big brother attitude is a good way to be, especially as assistant coach, because like I said, you got to gain their trust, and if you're a guy that they trust and they also have a good time around you, and you have a few laughs while you're working, that's when you really can build a big trust amongst each other.